Samir Khan spent 15 years sweeping the hallways and mopping the marble floors of Al Fateh Industries, a thriving tech company in Karachi. Everyone called him Sammy, but not with affection, it was mockery masked as familiarity. Despite being punctual, respectful, and hardworking, most of the office workers treated him like he was invisible, or worse, disposable. But Samir had a secret. Every night after his shift ended, while others headed home, he stayed back. In the dim light of the janitor's closet, he taught himself coding on a second-hand laptop. YouTube tutorials, PDFs, and online forums were his teachers. He didn't want to mop floors forever, he dreamed of building something of his own. One evening, while Samir was quietly writing lines of code during his break, the company's arrogant young executive, Daniel, burst in with his usual entourage. They caught Samir mid-lesson. "What's this? Our janitor thinks he's a software engineer now." Daniel laughed loudly. "Maybe he'll write code with a mop." The others roared with laughter. They snatched the laptop, deleted his work, and dumped coffee on it. Samir's eyes welled up with tears, not from humiliation, but from watching months of work vanish in seconds. The next day, Daniel complained that Samir was using company space for personal gain, and within hours, Samir was fired without severance. Just like that, 15 years of dedication were tossed out like trash. But what they didn't know, Samir had backups of his code in the cloud. And he was done being stepped on. Rise from the ashes. For the next 3 years, Samir disappeared from everyone's radar. With his severance injustice and humiliation as fuel, he spent day and night refining a mobile app idea he'd been working on, a productivity tool that used AI to optimize daily tasks for businesses. Using his limited savings and small freelance gigs, he slowly developed Zen Pilot. At first, no investor was interested, until a small Karachi startup accelerator gave him a chance. The moment Zen Pilot launched, it went viral. Within 6 months, it was being used by corporations in Dubai, Singapore, and London. In under a year, it was valued at $70 million. But Samir wasn't done. He found out through industry channels that Al Fateh Industries, the very company that had fired and humiliated him, was going bankrupt. Internal mismanagement, toxic culture, and outdated products had sunk their reputation. And to Samir's surprise, they were up for acquisition. The sweetest deal. Samir didn't send in lawyers or bankers. No, he walked into the same lobby where he'd once cleaned muddy footprints, wearing a custom-tailored suit and designer watch. His beard was trimmed, his presence powerful. As the board members of Al Fateh gathered to meet their mysterious buyer, jaws dropped when Samir entered the room. "You remember me, right?" he asked with a calm smile. Daniel, now a bitter and desperate man trying to keep the company alive, turned pale. This must be a joke." "Oh, it's not," Samir replied. "You made one back then. Now, I'm just finishing the punchline." He bought the company at a price far below its former value. The same week, he fired every executive who had once mocked or mistreated him, including Daniel. But instead of vengeance alone, Samir transformed Al Fateh into a socially conscious tech hub. He hired people from underprivileged backgrounds, offering internships to janitors, drivers, and support staff who dreamed of more, just like he once had. Legacy of the underdog. A year later, a journalist asked Samir in an interview, "What motivated you to come back and buy the company that threw you out?" Samir smiled. "Sometimes, life hands you a broom not to clean floors, but to sweep away arrogance." They made me feel like I was nothing. I came back to remind others. No one stays at the bottom forever, especially not the ones who never stop learning. Moral: never underestimate someone just because of their uniform. Today's janitor might be tomorrow's CEO.